Hello everyone, my name is Benoit Keller. In this demonstration, I would like to show you how it's easy to use Alteryx to create and manage your data pipelines before analyzing your process with Blue Prism Process Intelligence. We all know that doing some process mining means also having the right data. However, the reality is always more complicated, as you almost always have to reshape the data before going through your analysis. So using tools like Alteryx is definitely a great choice when you need agility and also when you want to set up a strong governance around your process mining initiative. So let's take a very simple example and just imagine that you have two different datasets like this ones. So you need to merge this information, and you may also need to manage some data quality stuff, like for example, changing the type format or checking if the dates are correct and things like that. So before all, what I definitely need is, of course, a Blue Prism Process Intelligence project like this. So just create a project inside Blue Prism Process Intelligence and ensure that the data source is Alteryx and can be Alteryx like this. Afterwards, open the Alteryx designer and just drop in the canvas the two files like this. So these are the two files I just shown before, and you see the data I would like in fact to ingest so as to do my process analysis. So first of all, of course, I need to merge this different information. So you have the palette, the Alteryx palette like this, and just use, for example, the join stage and make the link between the two files and the join. Now I need to specify what would be the key of this join. And maybe I would like to choose in the output what I would like to keep and what I don't want to keep. For example, I won't need the ID anymore. I need to have the date, the timeline ID, of course, the event, the employee, and I don't need to have twice information like that. So let's just run it just to see the result of this information. So this is the result of the join of these two different files. So now I may need to ensure that the format, the date format would be correct. So to do that, I use the formula like this. And I'm going to put, in fact, the formula like this. I just have to select the date. It would be the column to ensure that the form is correct. And now I can just run it like this. And of course, all my data are ready. And I just have to drag and drop another stage of my workflow that would be loading the data into Blue Prism Process Intelligence. So to do that, I need this connector, the timeline connector. So I just have to drag and drop this connector again and to link this connector to the flow. And once it's done, you see here on the left pane, I just have to configure the server URL, what would be, in fact, my username. That's exactly the same credential I had to when I need to connect to the server. And I need to specify now the project. So here, if I've ticked the case, the Alteryx checkbox correctly, I would see, in fact, my project Alteryx like this. So now what I need to do is to specify what kind of field I would like to specify as my free keys. So remember, you need to have a timeline ID. So I need to specify in the different columns here what would be the timeline ID, the timestamp, and of course the event name. I also need to specify what would be the date format. So let me change the date format like this. And if I want to enrich my analysis, I just to have had the columns, the other columns I get from the different files. So for example, the employee, the location here, the day of week, and other information that was stored in my data. So everything is almost done, and now I just have to run it like this. So just click on the Run button here, and let's wait for a second. So you see the results, everything has been loaded correctly. So just to check it, we just have to load the project again and refresh the page, for example. And you see that all the data has been loaded directly into Timeline. Now just come back to the Alteryx designer, and you see in the Happy Timeline connector, there's an input to load the data into a timeline project, but there's also some different outputs. And this different output gives me the ability, in fact, to get the data directly from the project. I can get, for example, the different statistics about what has been executed and done into Timeline. I can get some information about the alerts, and I can also get information from the different metrics I was able to create in Timeline. So let's just create a new link like that. And let's put now a new file at the end. So let's put, for example, test. And let's run it. So now the field has been generated, and in this file I will find out different information, like for example some statistics about the execution of your process. Let's open this file, and you'll see in this file different information, the timeline, when this timeline has started and when it has finished, and other information like the number of events, the duration, and many information which has been generated directly by the Blue Prism Process Intelligence server. And the very good news is this connector is clearly a bidirectional connector. It's able to load the data inside a project, and is also able to grab information coming from this project. So that was the purpose of this demonstration. Just keep in mind that this connector is clearly, totally, fully integrated into Alteryx, and it provides you a bidirectional way to integrate a Blue Prism Process Intelligence project. Thank you.